presentation today is going to be about interpersonal communication methods, past and present. Before we begin, as a courtesy to myself and to Juan, who is going to be presenting after me, if you could please make sure your cell phones are silenced. And if you get a phone call, please take it outside. A lot of work went into these presentations. So today we are going to be exploring the history of written communication. We're going to be talking about verbal communication, nonverbal communication, asynchronous versus synchronous, and the benefits and the downfalls of mediated communication. Okay, the history of written communication. First communications that we have way back when were from Mesopotamia, 4th millennium BC. That's 4,000 years before Christ, so over 6,000 years, mostly involving transactions of barley. Slightly more recent than that, in ancient Egypt, you have hieroglyphics. You can see hieroglyphics on the inside of the walls of the pyramids, the Great Pyramids of Giza in Egypt. You can also see hieroglyphics on papyrus. Papyrus was made of a reed plant that was soaked, pressed, and dried, and Egyptians used that to write on. Actually, it's kind of a fun fact. When I was 10 years old, I went to Egypt, and I walked inside the Great Pyramids of Giza, and I saw these hieroglyphics in person. And I actually have a cartouche with my name on it in hieroglyphics. Letters were also sent by homing pigeons back in the days of Julius Caesar. Homing pigeons were also used in ancient Greece to broadcast the winners of the Olympics from city to city. More recently, in early American history, letters were sent by the United States Postal Service. History of the Postal Service. So the Postal Service was started in 1775, and Benjamin Franklin was appointed the first Postmaster General by the Continental Congress. Okay, so this is talking about more communication in general. Different forms of communication from birth to death. From the moment we are born, we communicate. So starting off with babies. How do babies communicate? They cry. They cry normally because of their basic needs. I'm hungry. I need to be changed. I'm tired. I want to be held. You get a little bit older into the kid phase. Questions are more broad. Statements are more broad. But you're starting to learn more and see more about the world around you. You're starting to question more things. Dad, why is the sky blue? Mom, where do babies come from? Now, if you have kids or you plan to have kids, the questions will come. Be ready. And then you start getting into your adulthood. You start having a broader scope of what you use your expressions, your language for. To do your job, to take care of school. You communicate with your friends, to order food. You communicate with your partner, with your parents. Okay? Nonverbal communication. This was something that a lot of us said was our favorite part of learning during this semester. I really enjoyed it too. I really enjoyed nonverbal communication because it can be a lot of fun, and we use 90% of our communication is nonverbal. So what is nonverbal communication? Nonverbal communication is the exchange of information between at least two people without using words, language, or demonstration, signing. So for example, if there's a stop sign right there, I can't point to that stop sign and you see the word stop. I can't use my words to speak to you. I cannot use sign language to demonstrate a word. Okay, so nonverbal communications is used through body language, through gestures, and through expressions. This is actually very important not only for hearing people, but for deaf people. The difference between two signs can be distinguished between your body language or your facial. They're called non-manual signs. So I'm going to give you a quick example. If I'm going to tell you I like your shirt, or I'm going to tell you I don't like your shirt, it's the same sign, but my face is going to be different. So your shirt, it's almost like you can hear me say, I like it. Yeah, I like it. Your shirt, Same sign, my face is way different. Okay. As a demonstration of nonverbal communication, because I thought it might be nice to have a little bit of fun, I have 2 volunteers. So first, let's welcome Victor on up. Come on up. It's hard to get up here. It's hard to get up here. So Victor is going to say something to me, and I am going to respond non-verbally.
All right, so I have a joke for you. What did one toilet say to the other?
What?
You look a bit flush.
Did I like that joke? Yep. You can interact. It's okay. That was a great joke. But you can tell by my expressions. You can tell by the way that I responded to him without using any words. Thank you very much, Victor. A round of applause. And now my second volunteer is the lovely Dr. G, who is going to read me a line, and I'm going to respond to her. Welcome, Dr. G. And I'm going to respond to her.
Hey, April. Check out my new outfit. Check it out. Costs like $500. What do you think?
Do I like her outfit?
No.
No. How do you know? Because of how I responded non-verbally. That's Dr. B, good job. So, it can make a huge difference in how we express ourselves to other people. I'm on the wrong card. Okay. Is this kid happy? No. Next slide. Is he at a funeral?
No.
I hope not. Next slide. Is he happy?
You just saw Toby.
No, next slide. Okay, so we get it. Nonverbal communication. There's a lot that you can do with nonverbal communication. Okay, so next I'd like to talk about asynchronous versus synchronous. Now, most of us here recognize at least one of these symbols. You recognize that symbol? What's it for? FaceTime. Okay, FaceTime is live communication, at least between 2 people. Zoom is also live between people, but that's more on a forum basis. Typically, this is one-to-one. Anybody recognize this? Marco Polo. I use this myself daily, you guys. This is asynchronous video chatting. So I'll send a video message to someone, they'll receive it in their own time, they'll watch it, then they can respond to me and I'll get it in my own time. Of course, we recognize Snapchat, it's required. So we have 3 forms of communication that we're going to be talking about today for asynchronous and synchronous. Okay, so synchronous. It's in real time, okay? That's one of the benefits. Expressions and information are immediate. If somebody's talking to you in synchronous communication and they ask you a question, you're probably going to be giving them their answer right away or vice versa. You don't have to wait for them to get back to you. Everything is immediate and in real time. Okay, asynchronous. This is good to accommodate different schedules. If I work nights and somebody else works days, we can communicate and we can get it in our own time. You don't have to worry about being on the spot. This makes a lot of people anxious when they're put on the spot and they have a question. With asynchronous, you can think a little bit more about your answer. I particularly like this because I say what I mean. So I like to think about it first because I'm very careful with my words. You can also accommodate different time zones. I use Marco Polo with somebody who's in a completely different time zone than I am, and it helps us to accommodate our schedules. So different forms of communication outside of synchronous and asynchronous, but specifically emails, letters, and text messages. And I went ahead and I sent out a survey about these 3 forms of communication because I wanted to know how special they made you feel. If you participated in my survey, thank you very much, because it really helped my research for this. Okay, so when I asked you for emails, letters, or text messages, which would you prefer? 64% of you said you would rather have a letter in the mail. 36% of you said you'd rather have a text message, and email was not even chosen, not once. So that goes to show you the differences between the forms of communication. When asked how special you feel when you receive a letter in the mail, 52% 56% of you said you feel very special when you receive a letter in the mail. 20% of you said somewhat special. 8% of you said a little special. And 16% of you said not special at all. When I asked about details in a letter in the mail that would be important to you, 40% of you wanted to have information that was previously unknown. For example, maybe grandpa writes to you and says, you know, back in the days when I met your grandma, and he goes into this thing that you didn't know. Or some sort of history or something. 24% of you cared about the length of the letter. By and large, it wasn't important about how long the letter was. It was about what it contained for you. 68% of you wanted meaningful content, and 68% of you wanted photos. Now, I'm the type of person, I will send photos to a family member if I take pictures with them at a family gathering. They know they're gonna get that physical print in the mail. 56% of us wanted it to be decorated or personalized. This is something that I do personally with my letters. I put stickers, I use glitter pens, I use all kinds of things to make it my own. You know, the moment you see it, it's from me. Very important to me. 92% of us wanted it to be handwritten. It really shows that personal touch when you have that. So when you compare and contrast emails, text messages, and letters, emails, they're electronic messages sent through some sort of email platform. They're typically used for both formal and informal communication. Emails are faster to compose and compared to other letters. When you look at text messages, they're cute, they say nice things, you can decorate them with emojis, but by and large, they're designed to be shorter and quicker. Even with a lot of back and forth, you're not gonna really go deep with a text message generally. You're not gonna sit there and go, my love for you is like a red, red rose blowing in the wind of spring and blah, blah, blah. You're not gonna do that. Typically, you say, I love you, you'll do cute little things, but you don't go that deep. They're designed to be quicker. When you have letters, they're handwritten, they're physical, they're tangible, and typically they're longer, more formal. They require time and effort to compose in your mind before you write them and send them. You'll sit there and go, how do I want to start this? You actually think about it first. It appeals to your senses. You can smell the paper, you can touch the paper, you can see the handwriting and all of the decorations. It's generally considered a more personal form of communication. This is a letter that I wrote when I was 4. I thought I was 6, I was actually 4. This was written in 1981. It was just shy of my 5th birthday. This is a letter to my Aunt Claire. My Aunt Claire and my Uncle Chuck used to watch me when I was little. I'd go to their house during the day, and the first thing that would happen when I walked in the front door of their small little home, my Uncle Chuck would pretend that he found little miniature peanut butter cups behind my ears. He'd go, hey, and he'd pull them out. I was like, wow, how did he do that? These people meant a lot to me. And at 4 years old, I wrote my first letter to my Aunt Claire. If you can't read it, it says, Dear Aunt Claire, I love you. I hope you can come over soon. I miss you, and I hope you miss me too. Love, April Dawn Hamilton. P.S. Do you like peanut butter cups? They kept that all those years. Why do you think they did that? The sentiment. How it made them feel. And now I have it today. As you can tell, a 4-year-old wrote it. So now we're going to have questions after the presentation, but I am going to be asking for some class participation. So I would like each of us to write a letter to the person's address that you brought today. It could be anyone. Now, a lot of people say to me, but April, I don't know what to write. Don't worry, I got you covered. Right here. Ask them how they are. Tell them you're participating in a presentation and you thought of them. Tell them your major in college, your favorite classes, projects you're working on. Tell them if you saw any concerts lately, which I got the idea when Jael posted. If you're a gamer, what do you play? Who do you play with? Okay. When do you graduate? Do you have any plans for the summer? If you're transferring to a 4-year, where are you going? Tell them that out of everyone you wanted to write to, you chose them, and why. Okay? A happy memory that you remember with them. Ask them if they would write back to you. See what happens. Also, after I did this, I thought to myself, if you're writing to a favorite aunt or a grandma, ask them about a recipe they make. See if they'll share it with you. They would probably love that. So this is the end. Next slide. These are my references. And then finally, we'll go to questions. And then after questions, I'm going to be passing out note cards that you can use. I have stamps, and we'll take about 5 or 6 minutes for you to just compose something short, because I don't want to get in the way of Juan's time as well. And then at the end, we'll have something that you can mail to that person. You might be surprised at the response, to know that you might have positively affected another person. Are there any questions?
I love this presentation. Round of applause.
When you were saying you're using sign language and your facial expressions to say I like something or I don't like something, is there other ways to say it where you don't need facial expressions? Because I know that sometimes they have translators that you can't see their faces, you can only see their hands.
Sometimes the more animated your actions are with your hands, it can show accentuation or emphasis.
Yeah.
By and large, you're going to use your face.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, in point of fact, if you don't use your face and you have a deadpan look, that can be considered sarcasm. So for example, I like your shirt, or your shirt. That's like, oh yeah, I like it, like sarcasm. So you have that deadpan look, so that can also be something with your facial expressions as well. Are there any other questions? Yes?
Do you think the whole thing, do you think nobody chose, emails as a form of receiving a letter because of how much spam emails and advertisements that we see?
Probably because we all hate spam.
Right.
My guess would be that email is the least personal. It's primarily used for business and school. And not a lot of people express their heartfelt thoughts in email. So we tend to think of it as more of a business transaction, and so by and large, it's not going to make you feel special. There are exceptions. I did get a couple of emails this semester that made me feel very special, but by and large, they don't. So that's probably why. Are there any other questions?
Do you think the time constraints and the effort it takes to put your words into a letter, having to pick them out carefully, is what makes it so special?
Yes, I do. I think that the time and thought that a person puts into their letters shows to you how they personally are extending themselves to you. Especially in a world where things are so fast. The person sat down and took the time for you. And that letter was in their possession, in their personal space, in their life, and now it's in yours and you have it forever. And I think that's one of the things that does make it so incredibly special. Any other questions?
So what was that stuff from Egypt that how do you call it, hieroglyphics? What's that stuff called again?
Papyrus. Papyrus is a long reed plant. They would chop it, soak it, press it, and dry it, and they would use that as their paper.
Oh,
And actually, when I went to Egypt, my dad purchased a large papyrus photo, well, not photo, it was a picture, and it was about this big. It's still hanging in his entryway, and it's of a judgment scene of somebody who just died and they're being judged by the gods. So it's pretty big though, but yeah, they're beautiful, beautiful pieces of art. Any other questions?
How many people responded to your
75.
75?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. G, for blasting it the way you did. Could not have done it without you.
No, it wasn't, I was just
Ooh,
curious.
It's cool right here.
It is really cool right there.
It's hot up here when you're, no pressure.
What did you find to be the most surprising of your results or your research?
That there was a percentage of people where a letter didn't make them feel special at all. That surprised me, not at all. Because we're not talking about a bill in the mail. I was very specific to say if it wasn't a bill,
Yeah.
if it wasn't anything business, it was a letter. And I was thinking to myself, wow, not at all? I mean, it's almost like a little gift for you.
I just like the mail. Like anytime I read my mail,
What's your favorite form of communication, and is that your forefront?
My favorite form of communication. For written communication, it would be letters, because it's always been such a part of who I am, from even as soon as I could hold a pen. I still do that to this day. I have a pen pal who lives in Idaho. He's my elderly gentleman pen pal. I've been writing to him for 5 years now. Never met him, but he knows all about me. He knows all about my husband, my kids, all that. I like to write to people that are far away. I like to write to people that might be in a situation where they might be away from home for a while and they feel lonely. It is a way for me to extend myself to them on a very personal level. And I actually did my persuasive speech on that last semester in public speaking. Of course, I didn't realize it was so interpersonal at the time, but Dr. G knew. It's like, oh, it's all over that. So that is my favorite form of written communication. And I try to use it as much as I can, although this semester it's been a challenge, so.
Well, you're not trying to use it, it's easy.
Yeah. Anyone else? Okay, thank you so much, and I'm going to be putting cards over here. You can come up and get a card and an envelope. I don't know if we want to do that after one.
Probably after one.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and set them up, and then please come up, pick a card and an envelope, and then write to your person, and I have stamps for you. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.